I think I'm gonna go to this Kendrick thing right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
All
mean,
right. The New York Times put Kendrick Lamar on the cover. And it said Kendrick, Unbound, in a partnership with his longtime collaborator Dave Free. The greatest rapper of his generation is pushing himself commercially and creatively onto unexpected terrain. The greatest rapper of his generation. That's what the tagline that a lot of people took and was like, huh, is Kendrick Lamar the greatest rapper of his generation in your estimation?
how are we defining generation?
Yeah.
That would be the most important thing that we need to cover first.
That's my question. And again, if we're talking about if we're capping it off, let's just say Section 80, what is that, 2011? To,
9.
is that 9? I thought Section 80 was 2011.
Oh, Section 80, 10. 10.
Is it? Oh, let's get. I want to make sure we're correct. I'm not doubting you or whatnot. Because I know the Good Kid, Mad City is 12, right?
Yeah, it feels that way.
Section 80. That is 2011, July 2nd, 2011.
2011,
Yeah.
Section
So
8.
if we're saying 2011 to 2017, for sure Kendrick's the best of his generation, the greatest of his generation. But if his generation extends from 2011 to, let's just say now, 2022, I have a hard time actually giving him that because we're in an era of activity, right? People don't take breaks too much. And that 5 year break in such an active era, I would have to I would have to give J. Cole that nod. Or if we're talking about the hits, I would have to give, I mean, some people could say Drake or whatever. You know, because if his generation includes the generation of Drake and J. Cole, there is a real debate here.
I don't even want to get into all that just yet.
Oh,
I want to
why
get
not?
into.
What do you want to
No,
get into?
no, I'm going to tell you where I'm going with this. This is what I mean about the media. The only reason that this article, or whatever it is, or what you would call it, even got written up, and pushed out is because they know what I know, what you know, what everybody else know. This product that he made isn't that good, and this is the best time to start talking about his all-time greatness and legacy for the generation so we don't have to focus on this one album and how good it is not. It is very, very clear that that is what's going on. Why are we having a generational conversation about him when he's been gone for 5 years and just did a double disc? Why we ain't talking about the double album?
That's a good
Because
point.
it ain't no good.
It's a good point.
And I'm tired of saying that. It's not any good. The fact that this even got written up is proof positive it's not any good.
It's a good point. 36 Chambers with the super chat said, as a fan, we've been lauding Kendrick as the greatest rapper of the past decade of hip hop, or so, haven't we? Those of us who are 40-ish and under, from what I've heard. JY says, they're saying what's already been said for years. But
Years
again,
ago, not for years, years ago. He's been going for 5 years and he just came back and dropped a subpar effort. You're talking about, that's what I'm saying. Why is an article being written in 2022 that should have been written in 2017, 2018?
you're right. You're right. And again,
Because the album ain't no damn good, and I'm tired of saying it.
I know we're getting thumbs downs in the chat for this,
That's
but
cool.
I think Coop is making some very, very valid
Why
points.
is the article being written in 2022 about his generational greatness after he just went on the run that he went on and then took a 5 year break? They had 5 years to do this write up.
No, you're right. You know what I mean? This could have been written in 2018 even. And again,
19, 20.
if you could do me a favor, look up the activity of J. Cole from 2011 to 2022.
You don't want to do that.
Is there any, slippage or any type of breaks, or you know what I mean? What I do want to say though, while you're looking that up,
It's not gonna take long.
I saw
It's
I
stuff
saw a
everywhere.
clip of Scarface, right? And Scarface was talking about how incredible a performer that Kendrick Lamar's show was that he did in Paris on Amazon Prime. And I went and looked at it, and it was an incredible show. And I went and looked at the Glattenberg show as well. Kendrick's a great performer, and I think that spoiler alert, I think he deserves to have Live Performer of the Year for 2022. But one thing I did notice was those records that were from his previous albums that were not on Mr. Morale, those records were much better than the records that were on Mr. Morale. And when he performed those Mr. Morale records on both tours, you could see the lack of reaction from the audience. You could see that those records weren't translating. And anybody in the chat, I know y'all Kendrick fans, y'all probably saw it too. It's a different reaction when Money Trees comes on, when DNA comes on, when Element comes on, when even Black of the Berry comes on and he does the song Mr. Morale. The one that he does this the most, I guess, concert friendly is N95, and that doesn't even translate anywhere near what those other records do are.
Because the songs aren't
They're
as
not.
good.
And I think that when you look at his live performance, even though he has a lot going on in his live performance, they're well put together. His breath control is incredible. You know what I'm saying? The way that he projects himself, his clarity, and the way that he executes on his own rhymes, incredible. From a technical standpoint, he's perfect, right? On a performance level.
Don't you say that about Eminem?
Yeah.
From a technical
Eminem's
standpoint,
a great performer.
he's...
Yeah, nah, straight up. But when you hear those songs next to the songs that he did 2017 and down, these records from this album don't even register. And these are fans who paid to see him, fans who know all the words to all of his shit. They're not excited about the new music when he's performing it. They want him to perform you know what I'm saying? Like when he does Mad City, people are getting up. When he does Mr. Morale or does Count Me Out, the mood kind of falls. It is what it is.
Who wants to go to a concert and feel depressed?
JY says, watch them drop a K-Dot's greatest hits album soon. You know what? You being funny, but it might happen. He might be in greatest hits territory. They blowing Coop up. They blowing him up. K-Dot's calling to say, yo, chill, bro. Mad Max with a super chat says, bro, love Dot, but I never heard people say that he was the greatest rap artist unless they were into social politics or liberal communist types. Okay. Now,
Don't you mean democratic socialists, not liberal communists? Like, damn it, Mad Max. We gotta work on your verbiage.
Okay, all right. So you looked up J. Cole's, I guess, activity from 2011.
Like album stuff? You want to go through album stuff?
Yeah, let's go through album, mixtape stuff, whatever, from 2011 to 2022.
No, just on the album side, you got Cold World, which is 2011, Born Center, 2013, Forest Hills Drive, 2014. You got Revenge of the Dreamers 2. That's Dreamville.
That's 2014?
That's 2015.
2015, okay.
You got For Your Eyes Only. That's 2016. You got KOD. That's 2018. You got the Revenge of the Dreamers 3, the Dreamville joint. That's 2020. That's what I mean. Cole's been building his team out while all this has been going on too. A stellar team. I said that last episode. 2021 is the off season, and then Dreamville did D-Day this year.
Yeah.
Which is up for collab album of the year that we're gonna get to.
Okay.
So he's been. That's what I mean. Is like not only has he been working, he's been working and bossing up simultaneously.
Yeah. I mean,
at the same damn time, like rapping his ass off and bossing up,
and doing a lot of feature work too.
Let's not even get to the feature work. I didn't even bring up feature work or mixtape stuff. I'm just bringing in the Dreamville and album work.
Because what people got to understand, in this 5-year break that Kendrick took from 2017 to 2022, there's not a lot of feature work even.
Man, break was the time between when me and my daughter got back from lunch and the time to do the show. This nigga been on hiatus and dropped an album that wasn't good.
Hey.
And now he having to get whole write-ups about his generational greatness that, quite frankly, should have been getting written up while he was gone. And his generational greatness was evidenced because now ain't the time when you drop this album that isn't good. I don't care how many people jump in the chat. I don't care how many people don't like it. It's not good. I'm not co-signing that shit. Ain't nobody out here playing it, even while you talking about this. While we talking about this, told you, ain't nobody out here playing that.
So we're talking
to people
about
in Cali.
So
ask where Cali at up in here again. What they playing? What y'all playing outside right now? It's Saturday afternoon. You about to hit the beach. You about to hit Venice and try to get a tattoo. Or you about to hit Santa Monica and hit the pier. You know what I mean? You want to get fancy with it, hit the 17. Or all the people on the 101 in the valley. Niggas off the 405 in Long Beach. What the hell do you think they playing? Because they ain't playing this Saturday afternoon when they go outside. Don't tell me that.
What I noticed too from his performance, the Good Kid, Mad City stuff really hit, and he was doing it in succession. They probably
still playing Money Trees more.
But again, Good Kid, Mad City stuff was hitting. He performed Money Trees. He performed Backseat Freestyle. He performed Mad City. He performed Poetic Justice. He performed Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. All 5 of those records are bangers. There's nothing on this current shit that's even close. And I'm not even talking about the in-depth records on there. You know what I mean? Like the album cuts.
Those records are brilliant.
Yeah. And even when he performed some of the stuff from To Pimp a Butterfly, like Black of the Berry. I'm not a big fan of King Kunta like that. That record was at least banging over the stuff that's on the current shit. Like, it's a level. But again, the other thing that we do have to factor in, we're talking about 2012, 2015, and 2017. Those aren't very strong years in hip hop. None of those years are anywhere near as strong as 2020.
2012 is really good. No, 2012 is
Is it?
Yeah.
2012 is hold on. Is 2012, 2018, 2020, 2022 strong?
At the top, definitely. Life is Good, God Forgives and I Don't, Jesus Peace. I think Killer Mike's album came out that year. No.
Rap music.
No, up at the top, up at the very top, definitely. Because think about it. I mean, think about this. If your best albums in 2012 are Good Kid, Mad City, Life is Good, Jesus, Peace, and God Forgives and I Don't, well, that's better than this year and 2020 as far as top 4. If you're just
being honest. Do you think so?
Yeah, because Good Kid, Mad City, first of all, is better than all of those albums, except for maybe KD3. And KD3 hasn't proven that it's going to hold up like Good Kid, Mad City. Think about it. If Good Kid, Mad City were to come out in any of those years, it would be the clear number 1, and Life is Good would be the clear number 2 in almost any of those years.
Well, I don't know about that. I think y'all think a lot more highly of Life is Good than I do.
Y'all the ones that got me back on Life is Good like that. And I've listened to it, Mike. I can't even front. If you really take, it's very Braveheart Party Stillmatic, like if you take Summer on Smash off of Life is Good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not Stillmatic.
I like this year's top 4 a lot. I like KD3, Cheat Codes, Soul Sold Separately, and No Fear of Time.
No, that's not better than 2012, Mike. Hold on. So you think that that's better than God Forgives? I Don't by Rick Ross. Life
I
would
put Soul Sold separately.
Oh no.
I would put Soul Sold separately up against God Forgives. I'm giving that to Rick Ross. Yeah.
I'm gonna say let's not do that to Freddie because he just made a great album. You don't want to do that to him. He's not gonna win very many records.
So what? Cheat Codes and Life is Good.
Life is Good is better than Cheat Codes.
You think Life is Good is better than Cheat Codes?
I know it is. It is.
I don't know about that.
Stay, Cherry Wine.
Love those records. But then you got,
Locomotive.
Aquamarine. No Gold Tea.
No, I mean, but you're talking about like the top from beginning to end, Life is Good is better. Now, if you want to say like the highlights on Cheat Codes are better, I might give you that. But in the end, is it better than Life is Good? No, it is not.
I don't know, man. And again, I think the depth of this year.
We can Patreon that,
Yeah, I would love to. I think the depth of this year would give it the nod over 2012 for me. Because again, those years where you're talking about are top heavy, they don't have a lot of depth. We got 20
No,
records this
the
year.
depth of this year maybe, but like at the top, it's like that's what I'm saying. Is like I'll take Good Kid, Mad City, Life is Good, and God Forgives. Like I'll take that around anything like post 2005, like pretty proudly, and like fight you pretty well.
Michael Sanders with the super chat says Kendrick is not the best rapper of our generation, in my opinion. I give it to Cole. His last album was a major flop. All this is cap. JY with the super chat says, I can confirm, Mike, at least for myself. Didn't know the words like that on the Mr. Morale songs and didn't feel them like that. Yeah, JY went to the concert. Can you confirm any of the things I'm saying, JY? You know, people didn't know the words to the records like that.
It's okay. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's getting on him for making a bad album. I'm getting on everybody who keep trying to make it seem like he didn't just make a bad album. It's like, no. He get the same treatment that every other all-time great MC gets when they drop a dud. When Snoop dropped The Dogfather, we was on that ass. When Nas dropped Nostradamus, on that ass. When Kane dropped that bullshit, what's that name? Chocolate something, or you know what I'm talking about? Prince of Darkness or whatever. That's no on that ass when he did that.
Yeah, no.
It's like, what is you doing, fam? We doing the same thing with him. Your little king ain't above the fray. He made a bad album. Everybody need to say it in unison like we always do. When Jay made Magna Carta and Kingdom Come, he was like, it's not good, fam. What are you doing? What are you doing? We expect better from you. We come to you from consistent album play. What is this?
The thing is, man,
get jiggy with this.
When your fans come to your shows, especially when you're like an active artist like Kendrick is, he some would say he's still in his prime. I would disagree with that, but again, he gets treated as such, right? If you're doing a concert and a tour that is named after the album, people want to hear that new music. Like the new music should get the biggest reaction. The new music should get a bigger reaction than you perform an Element from Damn. Element's not even a hit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because when he came out there, I'm willing to die for this shit. People was like, hey, it's different. It's just a better song. It's better than everything that's on Mr. Morale.
Now, it is what it is. Him, Element is one of the best songs he ever did.
Shit hard, man. I mean, when he was out there performing, again, his execution and the way he performs his shit, it made me feel some of those older records even more. I'm like, yeah, man, this dude was a bad man. And then when he performed the new stuff, I'm like, yo, this new stuff really isn't it.
No, like, and so you know what? So listen to this. The plug told me today that, like, you know, the writers that do the write-ups, well, they go to the concerts and get that experience. So everything that you're feeling and talking about, the writers are experiencing that live, and that's cool. But you really want to know what it is, me? That shit ain't cute, though, because you still got to rate the music and get out of your fucking feelings.
Well, they got a job to do. Like a real
you got a job to do. Nobody care how you feel about the concert experience, nigga. Do the write-up right.
Well, yeah.
Album ain't good. Next.
Mad Max with the super chat says Cole and Drake. Mad Max says Cole and Drake are the ones. I've heard males and females saying that they love those artists in public and in private. He's in contention, but he's not the GOAT of this generation. Okay, Andrew Green with the super chat says saw K-Dot live, thought his breath control was amazing and he sounded crystal clear, but also realized he used his vocal backing tracks on some joints. I realized some of that too. And when I saw that, I was like, well, is this why he sounded so great? Recording Sanctuary with the super chat says, every rap article or review says that the rapper is the best rapper of their generation. The New York Times article is nothing new. Okay. Again, people wanted to discuss it. And I do think that if we're talking about, I guess, you know what I took from the article that was interesting, or at least the cover, because I didn't read the article. I just want to know what is actually considered to be Kendrick's generation. When you take a 5-year break, pretty much half of your era, is that still your era? Are they cutting him off in 2017? I guess not, because like Coop said, if they could have wrote this article after he did Damn, but they chose to write this article after Mr. Morale. So that lets me know that 2022 counts. And if 2022 counts, after you took a break from 2017 to 2022 and your peers did not, I'm going to have to say no.
See, this is what I mean, and this is what I mean about the generational thing. And what do we mean by generation? Because it's like, well, technically, when you look at Albert Pujols' prime, it's like, well, was he the best player of his generation?
Albert Pujols, I think he was the strongest hitter of his generation, possibly. I mean,
Well,
if you
that's
look
funny
at the
because, you know, his
overall,
best years happened while Barry Bonds was still playing baseball.
mm,
And so was he the best player of his generation? You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's easy for you to say that, but you know, like Albert Pujols was like having like astronomical seasons, like that were some of the best seasons ever. He just was like playing like in the same league with Barry Bonds for about 4 or 5 years. And so, you know, he didn't win any of those MVP awards really. Barry won those. You feel me? It's like, so when you're talking even generationally, it's like, well, let's look at the last 5 years because, you know, there's this whole like, you know, Nasir, King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, Magic, King's Disease 3. All of this has been done in this 5 year span generationally, very much like how Barry Bonds, you know, won MVPs early and then won them late. So it's like when we're having the generational conversation, it's like, are you talking about who people relate to? Are we talking about the music? Like, what are we talking about? Because it's like, if we're going to talk about best of this generation, like, under what span? That's what I'm saying, because it appears the only real argument that he has, because he doesn't have an argument over Nas or J. Cole for the last 5 years. So if you're talking about 5 years prior to that, then yes, but then that just makes everything that I'm saying all the more solid. Why the fuck we having this conversation 5 years later? It's because this album's whack.
it just feels like, again, and this is from somebody who always thought Kendrick put out the superior product when it comes to albums, right? I think it's just unfair to J. Cole, who never stopped and who stayed consistent. And I just got to keep it real. Like, he never dropped an effort where his fans was like, oh, no, this ain't it. Well, technically, maybe Kendrick hasn't either because his fans are still saying this is album of the year. So I don't know. But I
And
saw
yet,
what those fans felt when they were in the audience at this show when he was performing the stuff from the new album. They couldn't fake that.
that's what I'm saying. You can't. Hey, look here. Like Kane don't perform nothing from Prince of Darkness. Snoop don't perform nothing from The Dogfather. Nas definitely don't be playing no damn You Owe Me.
I
You feel
tell
me?
I tell
It's
people in the
okay.
city
It
this.
happens.
I tell
What I
people
need
in the
his fan
city
base to
this.
do and the media to do, Mike, is tell this man the truth so that this doesn't happen again.
Well, they're
Because the
not gonna
truth
do
shall
that.
set you free.
Well, I tell people this all the time. People in
People
the
will.
city who always tell me that T.I.'s "I'm Serious" is a classic. I'm like, he doesn't perform any of those songs from that album, and there's a reason why. It is what it is.
It's not good.
It's not as great of an album as you think it is, because
It's not
even the
good.
performer himself doesn't perform the song "I'm Serious." He doesn't perform "Pussy Pumper Number One." He doesn't even perform "Dope Boys in the Trap," and that was the record that kept him alive.
No, you're right. Production wise, Mike, when I go back and listen to that album, even sonically, it's like, you know, it's not that good.
It's not. Man,
It's not
Max
that
of the
good.
Super Chat says, I saw an IG post where they listed all of the first teams of NBAs from 2000 to 2000 to 2009. And Kobe,
Yeah, I'm
Shaq, and
sorry.
Duncan made the first team 7 times apiece, most of any player. I say that to say this is Dot at 4 times first teams type. I mean, it matters when it happens because I agree with you on the Good Kid, Mad City thing. When it comes to Good Kid, Mad City coming out, if it came out in any other year, it would probably still be at number one. But it does matter when you put out Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn, specifically To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn, in weaker years, where your album is head and shoulders above the number two. And so it creates this environment that you're just way ahead of everybody. Now, if Good Kid Mad City came out in 2018, it would still be number one, but it would also have Astro World to deal with. It would also have Daytona to deal with, and it would also have Nipsey's joint to deal with.
Victory lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap, and it wouldn't feel like you're just far and beyond everybody.
I don't know, Mike. I think Good Kid, Mad City is still far superior to those albums that you just
It
named.
is better, but I'm just saying it would still be other stuff going on where it doesn't feel like it was the only thing
No,
that
that's what I
mattered.
mean. Like, you don't feel like Life is Good and God Forgives I Don't is the other stuff going on?
I feel like
No?
God Forgives I Don't, as far as like, club play and stuff like that. I think that when it comes to Life is Good, it's Nas. You know what I'm saying? And he has the rest of his catalog to contend with. So it's already not going to get the same type of fair shake when you got a guy who's coming in fresh and made his best effort, and you got a guy who's been around and we've heard for years who's making maybe his fifth or sixth best effort. It's
No,
different.
you're right. He's got Tom Brady, Michael Jordan problems. It's like
Yeah,
you're comparing him against his best work in prior years, like
exactly.
really not against everybody else. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
I
like
get
Jordan
that.
going out there for the Wizards, like, scoring 22 a game. Like that, those are great numbers for a
No,
starting
Life is
shooting
Good is
guard.
better than that. Life is Good is better than Michael Jordan on the Wizards. It's more like 25. It's more like Mike scoring 25. Life is Good is Mike scoring 25, 26 a game
I'm not
instead
gonna
of
lie to you
32.
guys. I'm not as high on Life as Good as you guys
I
are.
think you want to know. I wasn't either, Mike, and I'm going to tell you what. People have been on my ass for some years about it, and I've gone back and listened to it, and I'm going to tell you something. It's holding up very, very
Oh
well. I
yeah,
think
I
you
mean
need to
I
go
listen to
listen.
Cherry Wine all the time. You know what I'm
No, I mean
saying?
the whole
And
project, Mike. It's
Stay is
holding up
dope.
well. It's better than it's holding up even better than I originally thought. Like I'm higher on it than I have been in quite some time.
This is what I'm gonna say, and obviously this is a quote unquote Nas channel unofficially to some
I was like
people,
yourself, the champ.
but I have gone back, and especially when we've had our station heads and whatnot, and getting people's requests. I've gone back and played some Nas records that I may have kind of overlooked over the years, and they have all aged very well. And that's one thing I will say. Even stuff from Streets Disciple, like these records have aged very well. Records that I might not have really loved when they first came out,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just gonna admit it. I wanted to hear a certain type of Nas record. Like I was gravitating to Thief's Theme. So it's like when a record like that comes out, I might overlook some of the other records on Street Disciple. When I go back and listen to those, I'm like, yo, these records sound really good. These aged very well. So I could
Rest
say
of
that about his whole catalog pretty much.
no, Rest of My Life,
Yeah,
Reason. Yeah, those records sound great right now.
they do. They do.
Yeah.
And so maybe I do need to go back and listen to Life is Good again. I remember when I first heard Life is Good, I liked it. But, I will say this. I didn't think it was I think I would think the cheat codes is the superior effort between the two, but we can do a Patreon for that.
Okay.
Mad Max of the Super
You're
Chat
all having
says
trouble.
Cole and Drake like 7-time first team hip hop and don't like and Dot's like 4. And just like Kobe and Shaq and Duncan are top 3 players of the 2000s, Cole and Drake are over Dot.
Mm.
You know what? I think that the thing with, and I think we
Even
should have
though
just.
Drake hasn't made stuff good the last 5 years, really, he has been making stuff.
He has been making stuff. I think we got to address this part when it comes to the Drake thing. And I think that Drake is kind of and I say this respectfully, it's kind of a LL Cool J type of conversation. Where it's like, no one's going to sit here and tell you that Drake can outspit Kendrick. They all have two totally different skill sets. Like, Drake's a hit maker, whereas Kendrick's an album maker and not really a hit maker per se. That's not his strength. His
It's
strength
not
is
a strong
making,
suit per se.
yeah, his strength is making albums, where Drake's strength is making hit songs, singles, right? Drake's strength is in features. Kendrick's strength's not really in that. Kendrick's a superb lyricist and storyteller, where Drake is more melodic. Like, they do so many different things, so it's like it depends on what you put the onus on when it comes to those two artists. If you're about the album making process, you're gonna have Kendrick over him. If you're about just pure lyricism, you're gonna have Kendrick over him. But if you're about numbers, hits, presence, features, then you're gonna put Drake over.
And hook writing.
Hook writing too. That's a big one. It's a big
Better
one.
hook writer.
I think that between the two, and again, I can't really sit here and definitively Listen, I'll give my opinion. You know me, and whenever we do these lists, for me, catalog of music is really about the albums.
Right.
And when it comes to the albums, yes, I will put Kendrick above Drake. But I can't disregard the activity and, like you said, never going anywhere, still being here, still all these years later, able to just make hits whenever. Legit hits too.
I can't. I can't say. I think we exist in a culture where the lyricism is still weighed so heavy in terms of how we rank our greatest that I don't know if Drake can ever be considered the greatest of this generation with guys like Cole and Kendrick, and even a Jay Electronica who did not release any material, like viable candidates like that lyrically walking around in his era. But he is somebody much like LL Cool J. That is the same way LL deserves to be mentioned with like Rakim and KRS-One and
Right.
G-Rap and Kane is the same way Drake deserves to be mentioned with Cole and K-Dot and Electronica. And if you even wanted to count Pusha as part of this generation as a solo artist, you get what I'm saying? Big
No, I
Sean.
feel you.
Like he deserves to be considered in that stratosphere. I really do think this really comes down to the fact of it's just like, well, if you like rap and you like rap greatness and rap consistency, then Cole's your guy in this conversation. If we're
'Cause he
talking
does it
about
all.
the cumulative, if we're talking about the cumulative effort, it's almost like, when you do the decathlon in the Olympics, and it's like, well, you don't really win the decathlon by winning one event. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You win it by winning and scoring high enough in a multitude of events. So it's like, you could win bronze in all 10 events and maybe win the decathlon and not go finish first or second in any event. But if you're the best consistent,
Yeah,
and
if we
so,
threw out criterias out there, right? Album
right.
making, features, and all that, like Cole would probably get eights all across the board. Whereas Kendrick with the album stuff, lyricism stuff would get like tens or whatever, but when it came to feature game, that's gonna drop you. When it comes to hit making, that's gonna drop you. Things like that. But when it comes to Drake, like you know what I'm saying, like his feature game stuff 10, right?
Let's just possibly do a quick scale right quick. Let's just look at a few things if we may. Let's just
Let me write this down. Let me get to the super chat while we, before we
let me
do
write
that.
something up right quick while you hit the super chat up.
All right, Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Peace to you A2HH." But cool. I'll go with anybody versus Big Pun's Capital Punishment on the Patreon. Who you got? Jokingly. Nah, man. I mean, I'm gonna go to Old Faithful. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. 1998. I mean, shit. I mean, y'all really think that capital punishments like that? I guess we could go with Moment of Truth. Is that fair?
I want to do that the capital punishment.
Is that fair? I mean, if it's like that. Record Sanctuary, excuse me, says, I think that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is great, but I can understand why it's disappointing to someone who's waited 5 years. Kendrick is the best because his classic albums, and this is the first one that isn't. I like that. I mean, listen.
I've been saying that. And when I say it, people are like, you hating. It's like, no, this is just not anywhere close to the last projects. It's not good.
And listen, as a writer and as a former lyricist, I can respect the incredible writing from this album. But I would be remiss if I wouldn't acknowledge the fact that when he puts these songs into his set with his previous works, it doesn't translate as well. And that comes down to the material. It has nothing to do with I think the fact that, we're talking about the album in the way that we're talking about it, people are taking this whole flop or missing thing as in he just made trash or made a whack album. No, you can listen to the lyricism on there and take a lot of great stuff from it, but the palatability is not there, and it's always been there for his lyricism before. So with that being said, I mean, it's just not, it just doesn't hit that mark. It's kind of like when you watch gymnasts in the Olympics, and for the untrained eye, and I say this respectfully, they'll go out there and do their thing, and the judges who know what they're looking for be like 8, and the people watching TV be like, no, that was fire, that was a 10.
And be like, nah, but you see how they sidestepped on the landing right quick?
Right.
Right quick. No, we're taking 0.7 of a point off for that.
Yeah, and we know what this guy
9.3
can
at
do,
best.
and
Better
this
not
is why
slip
we
up
hold
anywhere
him
else.
so high. This is why
So
we
look,
hold him so high.
So let's just do something right quick. So,
Okay.
albums, Kendrick or Cole?
Kendrick.
I'm still with you on that, even after this dud.
Definitely.
I still agree with that. Guest appearances.
Cole.
Okay. Lyrics.
Huh. I'm going
Lyrics.
Kendrick.
Hold on. How about this? Lyrics / storytelling. Because when you put them together,
I think both of them are great storytellers, actually.
they are. That's why
I would give that nod to Kendrick, though.
The lyrics and the storytelling?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we making that one or are we separating it?
We can make that separate.
So he's a better lyricist and storyteller than you?
I think so.
I don't think he's the better lyricist.
You don't?
I think he's the better storyteller. I don't think he's the better lyricist.
Huh.
I think you're talking about his content or maybe his subject matter.
No, I mean, no.
Lyrically, where do you think he's better? How about this? Because here's what I will really submit to you. What's Kendrick's best verse?
It's a lot, bro. You know what? Off the top of my head, I'm going to say his verse on Mad City. Off the top of my head, without really thinking about it, without really going into it, that Mad City verse is crazy.
Okay. Now, you heard Cole on Johnny P's Caddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's not Cole's best verse. Have you remember J. Cole on Pray on Jesus piece?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you're saying that he's better lyrically, it's like, oh, I don't know about that. You want to say he's a better storyteller? Yes.
I'm thinking about his lyricism on Element, not Element, Feel. I think his last verse on Feel is one of his best verses as well.
I think the second verse on Feel is arguably his best verse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. Cole got that's what I'm saying. Cole's been rapping so much, he has like plenty of verses at that level. That's
I will say this.
That's the thing about when you don't rap for 5 years and your competition keeps rapping.
But
it's not rapping at a higher level than Cole lyrically.
I'm okay with saying that Cole has the MCing thing over Kendrick, and maybe these are the same thing, maybe they're different. But
you cool with calling lyrics a tie and giving Kendrick the storytelling nod?
I'm cool with that, but I mean, with the writing that he did on, Auntie's Diaries and My Sober and stuff.
But that's content.
I don't think it's just content. The lyricism that he put together was top notch.
No, it's not, because if it was, we'd be reciting it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's
that's fair.
If it was that, we'd be reciting it the way we recite Tupac stuff, and Biggie stuff, and Nas stuff, and Jay stuff, and Andre stuff, and Scarface stuff. We're not reciting this stuff like that, because it's not like that. The lyrics ain't like that. The writing is, the lyrics are not.
But the lyrics are what's written. I feel you. But see, again, that's kind of like why it's not translating live, too.
This is what right. Like, this is what I mean. Like, the content and the conception of this, in terms of how it's written, conceptually, it's beautiful. The execution does not translate, so it's not great lyrically.
Because Pac could have went out there.
Lyricism. You gotta hit the mic and spit that shit, and people gotta want to say it with you.
Yeah, because Pac could have went out there on some lyrical miracle stuff, but he needed to make it translate. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a poet.
Yeah, you have to translate your writing into the format that you chose to exist in.
So what other category do you have out there? What other category you got?
Voice.
Well,
I think we found out this year how much voice really matters in this conversation.
Well, voice is definitely Cole.
Delivery.
I'm going Kendrick with that. But again.
So am I.
But see, again, I think delivery, that's another thing that's like, that's an acquired taste when it comes to Kendrick, because Cole gives you a traditional hip-hop delivery, whereas, Kendrick's coming on some, he
has an array of deliveries.
Like he has an array. He has more of a versatile delivery, but I think that Cole has more of a palatable delivery.
No, and I agree with that. But in this one, I think Kendrick's agility just is so supreme in terms of how many different ways he can deliver that I would give him the nod over Cole in that even that traditional come through. Like that's that consistent. That's that, Cole give you that Tim Duncan with his delivery. It's like, well, that's going to be good for 20 and 10 every night for as long as he steps on the court.
Well, and that's the thing too. We don't know how well Kendrick's delivery is going to age either. Where we know this
I think
Cole,
we're finding out right now.
Yeah, Cole's delivery is timeless. I will say
it is. It's still Kendrick though because of the agility though.
Yeah. I mean, I can't take that away.
It's like when two guys do the same thing as well at something. You always go with the athlete. And so in this conversation, Kendrick would be the athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole would be the fundamentally sound player. Kendrick would be the athlete. Usually take the athlete over the fundamentally sound if things are comparable.
Okay. What other category you got?
Hooks.
That's Cole.
Yep.
Live content. You know what? I'm cool with making that a tie.
Yes, sir.
Because,
Kendrick,
even though
go ahead.
Kendrick takes it there, there's a lot of, I don't know, man. One thing I will say about Cole in relation to Kendrick when it comes to the content, Cole lets you know. I think Cole's a lot more vulnerable in the sense where if he doesn't know something, he'll let you know he doesn't know something.
He's honest.
Exactly.
He don't be lying and shit on the mic.
Yeah, whereas like Kendrick, you'll hear a lot of stuff that might be like, is that official? Or I'm gonna go back and research that. Let me go check that out.
You already know how I feel about it. It's like fam be saying some things sometimes. It's like, oh, is that word?
Yeah, he says some things sometimes where it's like, yeah, I totally disagree, but I can respect the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Live performance, I'm giving that to Kendrick.
Yes, I had that down. I actually had two more left. One was live performance.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I had live performance and I had hits.
Who do you think has more hits? Because even though Kendrick doesn't seem to make quote unquote hit music, I think he has more hits.
You know what? We actually had a discourse about this on this show, and it's actually the people here in the chat that started naming off Cole stuff that made me feel totally different. Because think about this. No role models.
Yeah.
Wet Dreams. The A Lot record with 21 Savage. Power Trip with Miguel. Neighbors. The London track. The Love Yours. Apparently. Crooked Smile.
Kevin's Heart.
What's the other joint? The joint with Missy. Nobody's Perfect. Yeah. So I mean, like, when you
say that, I
feel
like on the radio, I heard the record with Miguel more than I heard any Kendrick record on the radio.
Power Trip was a banger.
Crooked Smile too.
Deja Vu. Yeah.
Nas the Goat with the super chat says, "Why is Lupe never included in the generation combo?" I think Lupe came during a cosmic shift in the record industry where, things were moving from CD to digital.
Hold on, look. The ATM record on KOD.
Yeah.
He do got hits. He got hits everywhere, actually.
Does have hits.
Pride is the Devil.
Pride is the Devil. Andre Shashir with the super chat says, Nas performed You Owe Me at his Chicago show I went to. I bet that was wild.
Oh, that's great. I'm happy to hear that he's performing that record. That doesn't change the fact that album wasn't any good.
You didn't like You Owe Me? Owe Me Back.
Have you heard Timbaland's other beats? Why he giving Nas beats like that? You heard Timbaland's other beats that year?
I think not.
No, I don't like You Owe Me.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, maybe we need to distinguish between content and message. Kendrick tends to send a powerful message, even if wrong or misguided. He sways people into ways in ways Cole doesn't. And there's a reason K-Dot is a pop culture fixture. Thoughts?
I think he paid for that spot to be a pop culture fixture. And so that's usually how that happens.
It's an Interscope thing, you think?
It's an Interscope thing, yes.
And I got a love Scope. They do a great job over there. I got some new beats too. I got for Christmas.
Oh, that's what's up. I got a mic for Christmas for my daughter, obviously. Shout out to my daughter. First of all, I want to let all you podcasters know your daughters are whack compared to mine because your daughters didn't buy you no mic for Christmas.
Marquez Davis with the super chat says, this whole convo should put Kendrick in perspective because I was really never blown away by Kendrick lyrically. He can rap, but I never walked away like this dude is like Pun or something. I think a lot of that is voice, though. I don't think he has a commanding voice on the mic, and I truly believe the way that he rhymes. Everybody's talking about Mickey Fax was barring up on the new album. Shout out to Mickey Fax. Talked to him a few weeks ago. Album is crazy. We're gonna have some discussions about that. Probably play some of that on the station here too. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think that if Kendrick had more of a commanding voice with those same lyrics, maybe people would feel different. But I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
does he have a Dream Shatterer lyrically? No, he doesn't. Does he have a John Blaze verse around that type of competition? No, he doesn't. Does he have a back and forth with the likes of a Black Thought like a super lyrical? That's why people don't look at him that way. Because here's the thing with Cole, and here's where I really would give Cole the nod. Hold on, because this is pretty close actually when you look at it. It's like, so it would go, Cole's got one, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 10 categories, right? Mm-hmm. We got Cole winning 1, 2, 3, 4. We got Kendrick winning 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got 2 ties. But guess who performs under pressure and with competition? Wasn't that Cole we just heard with Benny?
And who didn't take a 5-year break, you know.
And didn't we hear Cole with Game? Mm-hmm. Ain't we heard Cole with Wale?
We've heard Kendrick with Game too. Let's not do that.
I'm running down a list. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a list of high quality people that Cole doesn't mind standing next to at the drop of a dime, no matter what era. Because the same way he'll work with those guys, it's like, oh, well, shit, he'll go do a record with 21. Lil Baby, today's era, like today's people's champs. You get what I'm saying? He does a record with anybody at the drop of a dime. Oh, Benny won a verse? Oh, you can catch this too. Everybody getting that word.
Even on the Jeezy record, where he featured both of them, and J. Cole came out rapping and Kendrick came out singing. You remember that?
I'm trying to forget that.
I mean, that happened. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, man. Jeezy caught the short end of the stick on that because that was supposed to be an epic collaboration. And I'm pretty sure that Jeezy didn't sign on to this for Kendrick to go on there and sing. They wanted both of those guys to rap on the same track. I mean, it's kind of like a Nas and Jay-Z type of momentum building. You remember when Ludacris had that record with Nas and Jay-Z on it? Was that before Black Republican or slightly after?
Slightly after.
Slightly after. And and Jay came out there and kind of dialed it in. Hip-hop started out in the park. So that's kind of what happened, but worse with the Jeezy record because Kendrick came out there singing, man.
While Cole went out there spitting. He got a record with Kanye, Pusha, Big Sean, and Sci-Hi. That's what I'm saying. Like everybody catching this work.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm running down the list. Tiger. He done did Lil Wayne, Big Sean,
Let me ask you this.
Fabulous.
Who has more notable freestyles?
That's not even conversation. Chance the Rapper, Joey Badass, Jeezy, J-Rock, Wale, Moneybagg Yo, Anderson .Paak, J.I.D., Vince Staples, Earth Gang, like everybody catching work. Young Thug.
You're right.
Cole work with all these cats. Cole will walk into your studio and work with anybody. That's what a real MC do.
You're right. Marquez Davis.
A real MC that got really bars, Mike. You notice the MC that really got bars don't mind walking around anywhere with that shit. Like, you'll walk around anywhere when you know you got it. It's like, oh, what you need? Need a verse? I'll be there too. Smoke the niggas in that studio too, and I come smoke these niggas when I'm done.
But Kendrick was on Control.
Don't nobody care about that, Mike. You don't even got the best verse on Control. Give a damn.
He said on Control that he was going to kill everybody on these verses.
Man, he couldn't even kill Jay Electronica on the third verse. Why don't you try killing the nigga that come after you on the song?
Marquez Davis with the super chat says, Cole rapped with Royce, Rhapsody, Wale, 21, Benny, Game, Jeezy. So right, Coop. And I dare say that he probably had the best verse on all those features.
It's a lie. That is a lie.
Who did he not have a better verse than?
Rhapsody's verse was better.
Think so?
It's literally her coming out party. It's literally the standout of the record.
NR with the super chat says, what did y'all think about the Black Friday remixes, Kendrick and Cole, some years ago? I think that was the last time they kind of rapped together. The Black Friday remixes was crazy. And once again, that's when I was like, full Kendrick is that dude. Kendrick's version of Cole's song was crazy. Kendrick was spitting. But see, what I'm starting to realize, I don't know how well those things translate when Kendrick's on records with other people. And I think it's the voice thing again. But if you take others out of the situation and it's just Kendrick, then yeah, he's killing it from beginning to end. Maybe that's why we don't get Ab-Soul and Schoolboy Q on these albums like we should, or J-Rock anymore either.
Because you might see a dead body.
Look inside my parking garage and see a collage of every person I despise since the moment I turned 5. Calculate my steps strategically, took my time. Even falling off, I land on the ass of Nicki Minaj. And I think a lot of people feel like J-Rock had the best verse on that song. And even though Schoolboy Q and Ab-Soul killed it too, like with Kendrick rapping like that on there, it wasn't like he just stole the show. That song kept going.
He's not a scene stealer as a guest appearance artist.
You know what? When Black Hippies together, the scene stealer is normally Schoolboy Q and Ab-Soul, to be real.
Yeah.
They got the kind of swag that you could jump on a record with others and take over a record.
Jay Electronica's better on Control. Pusha T's a draw on Nostalgia. He not like that on the guest appearances. Like he don't even have he doesn't even have one of those glorious feature runs that we usually get from our great artists. Like, you know, even Face had a little feature run like where he was working with all the New York guys from like 98 to 01. Like, we don't have any of that from Kendrick. Like, we don't even look at all the stuff that Face did just in that little brief time with Nas and with the Rockefeller Camp. Like, In Between Us, Favor for a Favor, the Jay-Z and Beanie joints that he did, Somehow, Some Way. This can't just those 5 records right there. It's like we don't even have nothing like that from Kendrick to even speak of. On top of like all Face classic records.
So saying all that to say, Kendrick's generation is what, 2011 to now. Let's just say that, right?
No, the 17. His generation is 2011 to 2017 because that's when he stopped rapping.
No, I mean he's still out here. So
okay, is that what that is? That's what this album was? Is that outside?
Yeah, he's still out here.
He's still one of the biggest.
He's still one of the biggest names in hip hop.
It's like this album is like when you put on the wrong outfit and when you walk outside, all the homies should clown you, but because people like you, they just let you keep on coming back outside. No. Somebody need to tell your ass to go in the house and put on another outfit. You're making the neighborhood look bad.
This is still his generation. So I would say the best rapper of this generation, or the greatest rapper of this generation, is J. Cole. Even though Kendrick did make the stronger albums of the two, but if you talk about everything that this era encompasses, and we're talking about an era that is really not about album making per se. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I would have to give Cole the nod from 2011 to now. But if this was cut off at 2017, now it goes to Kendrick, in my opinion. But if we're talking about 2011 to now, J. Cole's the greatest rapper of this era, in my opinion. And if somebody wants to say Drake because of the numbers, I can't knock it. You know what I mean? I just think that from a mic skills standpoint, I think that J. Cole's just a better MC. I think J. Cole just gives you pretty much everything that you're looking for in an MC.
Now, here's what I will say. If J. Cole's the best MC of this generation, I need him to release an album that's reflective of that. Because if he's the best MC of this generation, the Forest Hills Drive is the best thing that he has. That is what Kendrick fans can and will stand on. So he needs to create something. I don't know if Good Kid, Mad City is reachable or fair at this stage, possibly, because Nas has kind of changed the way that we looked at things. So are guys like Black Thought and Wayne, like all this late resurgence, and brilliance is changing things. But I would like to hear something superior to Forest Hills Drive to feel more comfortable saying that, because Kendrick does have Good Kid, Mad City, most notably, to tote around and be like, no, I can say that. But he also has To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn to back it up. And I just
think
wish
all three of those albums are better than Forest Hills Drive.
I cannot disagree with that.
Yeah.
I cannot. And so for the Kendrick fans that feel that way, it's like, well, understand. It's like, I'm a Kendrick fan. I know a lot of his stuff probably better than you all do. That's part of why I know that this album isn't good. I'm very, very clear on what I've heard before and what he's capable of. I've played Damn multiple times, and To Pimp a Butterfly again after putting it on hiatus because of this middling album that he just released. Good Kid, Mad City stays in rotation, Mike, and that's not to count Section 80. Like, no. He has it. He just didn't have it on this album, and he took a 5-year break. You take a 5-year break and you drop a dud, it's like, yeah, I am going to give the guy that was in second place first place, even if his catalog doesn't look as good, because that's usually how it goes. Remember when Carson Wentz was about to win the MVP, and then he got hurt, and Tom Brady was in second all year? Who won MVP?
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't cut off the season at game 12. You got to play 16 games. He took 5 years off. That's like giving him the MVP award for playing 12 games when another guy played 16 with comparable numbers.
I think that and I said this the whole time during the break, like, the standard was already so high, but the standards get higher and higher the longer that you wait, because it's like, in the minds of the fans, we're like, it took you 5 years to make this? You know what I'm saying? And the only way that you could really justify the 5-year break was to come back with an epic effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is some, and I think he did come on some new shit. But I feel like this album is something that could have, chronologically, I mean, obviously he's going through different things in life, but chronologically, from a quality standpoint, this album should have dropped around 2019. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you something. Hold on. Let's give it some fair comparative analysis, if I may ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers better than the 18th Letter by Rakim?
I haven't listened to the 18th Letter in a long time, but from what I remember, I would say no.
Okay. Because there's not a It's Been a Long Time, or The Saga Begins, or A New York, or even the intro. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, Rakim took a 5-year break, and even though it definitely wasn't Follow the Leader or Paid in Full, or even Let the Rhythm Hit Him, it was none of those 3 albums, the same way this album isn't Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, or Damn. But what you had on the 18th Letter was proof, if you weren't there, that, yeah, that guy, I can see if you believe that guy, it might be 1997 if you told me that this guy was the best guy who ever rapped 10 years. No, I can hear what you're talking about. No, but
I will say this. From a rapping standpoint, if somebody who wasn't around for Kendrick and they heard him rapping on this album, they might not really be with the songs like that, but I think that his skill set is undeniable.
No, see, but that's what I'm saying. It's deeper than your skill set when you're considered the best. When I said Rakim, I said, no. You could still hear how people would consider that he was the best, as in the music translates. As in, It's Been a Long Time, and The Saga Begins, in New York. Like, those translate, Mike.
Somebody in the chat said his auntie wasn't a man in 2019. That's a fair point.
Be quiet.
It's a fair point.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it translates. Like, when I hear The Saga Begins, it's like, oh, no. It's like, no. That guy was the greatest MC at some point. No. I hear it. There's nothing on this album that makes me say that I don't. The guy that's on Element and on Feel and on DNA, he is nowhere to be found on this album. There's evidence that the guy that was on Don't Sweat the Technique and Let the Rhythm Hit Him still existed on the 18th Letter. There's not even any existence of the guy that was on Damn It to Pimp a Butterfly.
I slightly disagree with you.
Don't give me this writing stuff. Give me the songs that correlate.
You're talking about the full songs, but as an MC,
he makes music for a living.
His last verse on Auntie's Diaries, and his last verse on My Sober. But see, My Sober is kind of like that question mark record that was on To Pimp a Butterfly, where it's like, I can understand where it's coming from, and artistically it's incredible, but I haven't listened to that song since May, I don't think.
Because it's not good.
But again, this is hip hop, and and I think that we expect our MCs to rap, and he took a lot of breaks on that level too. It's not a lot of epic MCing, even though there is some very, very dope writing. You know, and I think Kendrick is extremely Andre 3000 centric when it comes to influence and, you know, who he's influenced by. Because to some degree, this album is very Love Below ish without the funk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to move away from the rapping type thing because it felt like this album, even though he's doing some rapping on there, it didn't feel like he enjoyed rapping on there. You know what I mean?
Go do something else.
Count Me Out, stuff like that. You know what I'm
Go
saying?
do
Like,
something else. Go do something else.
But again,
If you feel that way about rap, that's what I'm saying. For all these dudes that be feeling this way about rap, go do something else. Let me know how that goes.
This is the thing, Coop.
We're going to support you. I bought the Love Below.
Yeah, this is the thing, though.
I downloaded this piece of garbage that he just made.
When albums like this or the Love Below come out, somehow your stock gets raised in the rap community, even though they're not really rap albums. Like, they're talking about him being the greatest rapper of this generation, where this isn't really, it's a rap album, but it's more of a poetry rap, album when it comes to the spitting, and a lot of it's harmonizing, you know? But we could say that there are a lot of blurred lines when it comes to what's rapping in 2022 anyway. But I think a lot of people have brought that back. If you are confused with what MCing is, you can go pick up KD3. You can go pick up Cheat Codes. You can go pick up Soul Sold Separately. It's a lot of rapping on there.
It's a lot of rapping on there.
Some rapping. Yes. You got one guy who's the greatest MC of all time rapping just for 17 straight songs by himself with no help, you know?
Absolutely no help.
Absolutely no